It's 2020 fantasy football mock draft time. No, we don't shut it down. We're year round, and I've got your 2020 mock draft, your first one right here. Top 5 running back. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show. Give me McCaffrey. This is my mock draft. I've done other mock drafts where I've accumulated other people's votes. We do a double confirmation type system. You'll see me do those a lot. It's groupthink mock drafting. This is my mock draft. And I'm prepared for all of you to get all upset because I don't rank your player in the right spot. I'm okay with that. Comment below. McCaffrey 1.01. You can't argue it. You can't argue it. Don't even try. Don't even try. The guy is a beast. Do I worry about the usage in terms of him breaking down 2 or 3 years from now? Yeah, we can have a dynasty conversation about that where he still ranks 1, even if 2 years is all you could guarantee me. 2 years is a long time in dynasty. People worry too much about the future, about 4 and 5 years down the road. Anybody could get hurt. It doesn't matter how old you are. McCaffrey's number 1.01 in both redraft and dynasty. We could just have a different kind of conversation about dynasty, and we need to have that. In fact, let's do that at the end of this mock draft. McCaffrey 1.01, Barkley 1.02. Cry me a river all you want if you're like, how can you have Barkley? First of all, what he did in week 15 surely helped people feel more comfortable with him being a 1.02 or 1.03 heading into 2020 mock drafts. But before week 15, people were freaking out when I had Barkley at 1.02 in previous mock drafts and previous 2020 early rankings. Guess what? Every time this guy hits the field, moving forward from really today on, everyone's going to start getting more comfortable with saying, oh, I never doubted him as the 1.02. You might even see people rank him at 1.01 at certain spots in the offseason. But give me him at 1.02, the best physically gifted player in the NFL with an offense that should improve, with a lot of wide receiver weapons and a QB that should get better. And Danny Dimes. Don't sleep on Barkley in the top 2 or 3. I know that's weird to say.
How can you sleep on a player like Barkley?
People are giving me all kinds of for having him 1.02 or even 1.03. So how is he not being slept on a little bit, even if we're talking about sleepers in a big name capacity? Elliott 1.03. Lock him in. Dalvin Cook, I worry a little bit about injury. How could you not? But he is so good, you have to rank him at 1.04 or 1.05, or you're just setting yourself up for disappointment because he's going to blow up when he's on the field. Handcuff him accordingly. Mike Thomas at 1.05, you can make a case at 1.04. Him or Cook, lock him into 1.04 to 1.05. Thomas is only getting better. Breeze isn't going anywhere right now. That could change in a year. It could change this offseason. Who knows? But Thomas is the kind of wide receiver that can survive no matter what, no matter who's under center. He's that kind of a wide receiver. There are those kinds of wide receivers. Calvin Johnson in years past. A guy like Amari Cooper is very QB dependent and could vanish from the face of the earth with a QB change. Mike Thomas numbers might dip. Any wide receiver's numbers would dip if they lose their elite top 5 QB. But Thomas is the kind of guy that can survive ups and downs at the QB position. So he's the default wide receiver 1. Alvin Kamara at 1.06. You're either going to like it or you're going to absolutely hate it and say, Smitty, I'm not going near Alvin Kamara at all in 2020. And I wouldn't blame you. He's failed me. He's failed everybody. Let's do a lap. Take a lap. Take a lap. Take a. That's for me, because I seriously thought this guy was going to have one of the best fantasy football running back seasons we've seen in a while, and he crapped the bed. The bed hard. It was bad, but the talent is there. If you do not think, based on his 2018 play, that he is a top 5 running back talent-wise, that he doesn't have the skill set to be a 100-catch wide receiver, a 10 to 15 TD running back that only needs the ball 190 times on the ground. You don't want him getting well over 200 carries. You want a Lat Murray to be there in New Orleans to keep KAMARA healthy. Health is the only concern. Situation's amazing. There are not a lot of red flags. There weren't a lot of red flags heading into 2019. That's part of the problem and why people are probably going to be really scared, and rightly so, to invest in KAMARA again in 2020. I understand the concern because there are no red flags. Bad seasons happen. Injuries occur. KAMARA, give him to me later than 1.06 because I think you can get him later. Only draft him as high as you need to. My ranking and slotting of him at 1.06 feels a little high. So I'm telling you, get him at 1.08, get him at 1.09, get him at 1.12, get him at 2.01 at the bookend spot. I mean, that would be ideal. But don't be afraid to pay top 1.07, 1.08, 1.09 value for KAMARA. Just don't grab him in every league. Don't put all your eggs in one basket with any player. Hopkins, 1.07's got Watson, young QB, amazing offense that's going to get better. The running game's finally getting going, balancing out that offense. Hopkins feels really locked into top 2 wide receiver numbers for 2020. Wouldn't be crazy to expect the number 1 overall wide receiver production to come out of him in 2020, but I rank MT number 1. But Hopkins is a damn fine number 2 wide receiver overall in 2020. Chubb, I worry about a little bit staying healthy after this long, heavy usage season. Hunt shouldn't be there, but we don't know. For right now, we assume Hunt is not in Cleveland in 2020, and that makes Chubb a very safe, assuming he stays healthy, 1.07 to 1.11. A lot of people might think I have him too low right here. That's fine. I'm building in a little bit of risk. I'm baking in some potential injury risk in my valuation here. Lamar 1.09. Call it crazy. Call it too late. Call it too early. This is going to be the most debated player heading into 2020 mock drafts and 2020 rankings. Early rankings especially, because everyone's going to be all over the map on where they draft Lamar. I never take a QB early. Ever. It's the worst. You'll hear that. You'll hear people say he's the 1.01. And you'll have people yelling at that person. No one's going to agree on this. I could post a video tomorrow saying Lamar's my 1.01, and people would come out of the woodwork saying, you stupid. This is the dumbest I've ever seen in my entire life. And then if I post a video the next day saying he's the 1.12, I'd have people going, how is he not your number 1, you idiot? People will be all over the map. You will not please even 40% of the population with whatever you do with Lamar Jackson on your rankings or in your mock drafts. Get used to it. Get used to the debate in the comments because it's going to happen all year long. Give me Davante Adams at 1.10. The guy has top 1.06, 1.05 potential, but he's going to be wrapped all up in that late first round value. I love it. I love it. The guy is a top 3 to 4 wide receiver. He might even fall into the early second round, right at those bookend picks. I'm going to like the 12 and 13 pick, the bookend slots in 2020. I think I'm going to really like it. Jacobs, volume alone is going to make him worthy of the 1.11. He had a really good rookie season. Kind of figured he was going to get hurt and hit that rookie wall because his best college season was under 700 yards total rushing. He's never rushed for more yards in college. Computer, is Josh Jacobs hurt?
Josh Jacobs is currently injured.
Damn it! Computer, stop! So entering in the pros, he hadn't even had a full college season of rushing stats. So I worried about that rookie wall, worried about the injury, and he definitely has kind of left people hanging here at the end of the season. But he looks fantastic. They use him properly. I think he'll only get better, and with a year under his belt, he will walk into 2020 and be a good running back 1 for fantasy owners, and I think that warrants a 1.11. He's 10 to 14 TD capable. Lock him in. I considered dropping Derrick Henry out of my first round, but he deserves this ranking. And if he stays healthy, he will be a top 5 to 6 easy running back in 2020. You've got to bake in some risk, and that's why I almost want to drop him right out of the first round, because he is a massive human being, not designed or constructed to be a running back that gets the ball as much as he does. He's going to get hurt at some point. Maybe it's only 1 or 2 games, and that's why he warrants still a first round value, and because he can dominate for you the games that he is playing. But Henry, out of all the players I've talked about so far, and probably all the players I will talk about in the second and third round combined, all 3 of the first 3 rounds of 2020 mock drafting, Henry has the most risk to disappoint and be that one guy that you're going to draft and worry about, and hopefully not, but probably regret drafting as high as you do. He will be the one candidate for me heading into 2020 that has the most worry. And I'm predicting it now, my own rankings, my own mock drafting, my own content as it evolves through 2020 into, you know, June or February, March, April, May, June, that he will be a guy that continues to fall. Kind of like Todd Gurley last year. Everybody in January is like, wait a minute, what do we do here? And you saw him fall constantly every single week for me. I'm not saying Henry's going to have that kind of bust potential. The situation is entirely different. Henry's not an old running back with bad knees that is going to be on the verge of complete breakdown. Henry is just a big running back that probably shouldn't be getting the carries he's getting if he wants to have a long career, or even 2 or 3 seasons where he's playing a lot of the games. I just can't drop him past 12 right now, but I'm telling you, I feel like out of all the players I'm going to talk about today, he's the one player that I will probably get less bullish on every single week. Round 2. Now, I like the look of round 1, feels so secure. Round 2 gets a little bit crazy, where you could put KELCE at 2.11 up at 2.03. You could put Carson at 2.03 or drop him to 3.01. Kittle 2.07, Mahomes 2.06. He could go at 2.01 or 2.12 or 3.05. Godwin versus Evans. That debate's going to be hot. That's going to be a big debate all off season long, because months ago when I started mock drafting, and even up to like 4 or 5 weeks ago, people thought I was absolutely crazy for having Godwin and Evans neck and neck, or even Evans slightly ahead of Godwin, and people are still gonna say that. People hate Evans. I don't know why. The guy's a beast. He's a 3 TD 190 capable wide receiver on any given Sunday. Him and Godwin both got hurt. Computer, is Chris Godwin hurt?
Chris Godwin is currently injured.
Computer, is Mike Evans hurt?
Mike Evans is currently injured.
Damn it!
The latest
Computer,
report
stop!
of
So you can't just throw an injury blanket over the top of Evans and say, oh, well, Godwin's the one you gotta believe, and they both got hurt. Where do you rank them? Are they both 2.01 and 2.02? What if Winston gets benched? He's an interception machine. What if they move on somehow from Winston? What happens to Godwin entirely? What happens to Evans? I think Evans is more capable of surviving the storm. Should a storm come crashing down on that offense in terms of Winston? But you could argue it, and I'd be okay with it. You can tell me Godwin's 1.08 for you overall, and I'd slap you on the... and I'd say, go get him, young man. Nothing wrong with being bold. Just don't come into my house and say, how do you have Fournette at 2.09, you idiot? You can have Fournette at 1.08. It doesn't make you wrong. This is fantasy football. We're making predictions. So many things unfold later on during the year that no one sees coming. So who are you to come in and say any of this is wrong? And who would I be to come and tell you that your rankings are wrong? You can have Carson and Fournette both in your top 8, and you wouldn't be crazy. You'd be bold, and I'd like you for it.
This is my last word.
Look,
No!
here's what I'm going to tell you. Hill, I love him at 2.01, but I also love him a little later if possible. Aaron Jones, same thing. I'm not taking Aaron Jones any higher than I have to, because he has a lot of risk that I feel isn't quite baked into my liking at 2.02. But he's capable of top 5 to 10 running back numbers. He warrants the 2.02. I'm just a little bit cautious, or a little bit excited about him falling further than that. Give me Evans at 2.03. I'm okay with that. Mixon, I like more heading into 2020 than I did heading into 2019. I told everyone to be a little cautious of drafting Mixon. He has come on stronger as of late. They're leaning on the run for some strange reason, even though they can't do anything or move the ball down the field in other ways. You think they'd work on that, but they're not. They're feeding Mixon the football, and I think he'll walk into 2020 probably higher ranked than I'll like. But if he does get drafted in the 2.01 to 2.04 range, I'll be on board in 2020. At least initially, I may readjust. Godwin 2.05, he's earned it. Pat Mahomes 2.06, get him later if you can. He might be a 2.12 to 3.08 type guy in early mock drafts. I hope so. I hope everybody's ignoring him and saying Lamar yes, Mahomes no. I'm totally on board with making him my third drafted player if I can. Even if I'm moving my third rounder up a little bit into the second to have 2 second rounders and take Mahomes. I love it. Kittle, as my boy Dr. Ross says, over the middle. Lock him into 2.07 value. Easy. The guy's the #1 dynasty tight end in fantasy football. ETN, making bold predictions and statements right here. This rookie is going to go this high in August drafts. He may not, obviously, in February, March, April. You don't even have ETN in these rookies mixed into mock drafting in February, March. Most likely they will not be involved in a lot of the ADP data. This is me saying, guess what? ETN's going to climb this high. He will be this valued. At least one of the rookie running backs will. If ETN isn't that guy, let's say he gets hurt, something happens between now and the time of mock drafting for this stuff where you're going to start talking about ETN, another running back, one of these 2020 rookie running backs will be this high. I'm predicting it to be ETN, but it could be another running back. I'm going to do a running back breakdown. Get ready for the fantasy football show when it comes to rookies. You haven't seen nothing yet because last year was our first year and didn't get going until February, March. I'm ready now. It's December. We're talking January football. We're talking 2020. Get ready for the rookie content. You haven't seen nothing yet. Fournette, I understand if you want him higher. I'm ranking him at 2.09 to bake in that risk, to bake in the injury risk that I feel Fournette comes with. And you can't talk me out of it. Call me names. Call me whatever you want, all you Fournette truthers. I still have him in the second round. I'm not disrespecting him that much. But again, this goes back to I don't rip on you for having Fournette at number 5. Rank him as high as you want. You live in the world too. Carson 2.10. Fumbles. Computer, how many fumbles does Chris Carson have?
In 14 games this season, Chris Carson has lost the ball on 4 of his 7 fumbles.
Damn it! Fumbles, job security. A lot of reasons I have Carson doubt. And 1 second here. We're still trying to get IBC to sponsor the show.
It's time for an IBC cream soda break. Smitty's thirsty.
IBC has no affiliation with the Fantasy Football Show and is not a sponsor, although we wish they were. Contact them and let them know. IBC, reach out. What the hell? I've been drinking this stuff on the show for almost a year now. Step up. Be a part of this show. KELCE. You could rank him later, but by default, the guy belongs right here in the 2.08 to 2.11 range. You could argue Kittle and KELCE still for 2020. In Dynasty, I don't think you can. I think Kittle is locked and loaded as the #1 Dynasty tight end, but you could make an argument for either of these guys for 2020. The shocking part, EKELER, putting him at 2.12. I mean, if he's the lone back, if EKELER is the main back heading into 2020 for the Chargers, he's proven how dynamic he is. He's proven he can stay healthy, which is great because that was kind of a concern heading into 2019. I think people are going to get on board with this ranking. I could even see him go higher. Right now, it's going to be a little controversial and people are going to be like, how the hell can you have him there? I like him there. I think he's definitely proven he can be this good. How is there a lot of question around this type of ranking and bold predicting? How? He's proven it. Now, where's Melvin Gordon go? It depends where he lands. He could be at 2.03 if he had a great landing spot, or he could be in the 3rd or 4th round. The guys that missed the cut, Amari Cooper, Miles Sanders, I love both. Computer, how good is Miles Sanders?
Sanders rushed 19 times for 122 yards and a touchdown while catching all 6 of his targets.
Damn it!
50 yards.
Hunt, where's he going to be next year? If he's starting for a good team in a good situation, Hunt could be a second round worthy guy. But for right now, you got to drop him out. Montgomery, drop him out until we see a coaching change or reason to believe that they're going to use Montgomery to the degree he deserves to be used and used properly. Correct usage is important here. Until then, 4th round even, 5th round, who knows? Mac, 2nd round value trapped in a 3rd or 4th round shell. Singletary, same thing. Deshaun Watson, same thing. DJ Moore, he's growing on me. Galladay, what a beast. He's going to be 2nd round type value if he has the quarterback play to support it. So excited about Galladay in 2020. Same thing with Chark. Lockett, deserving of a late 2nd, but probably more of a 3rd round pick. And A.J. Brown, get ready. He's only going to get better. I love A.J. Brown. Oh my God, this guy is the next Calvin Johnson. Something I wrote about in February, and then he had a bad landing spot, and I said, oh my God, this sucks. We won't see him mature as fast as we wanted unless the QB position changes or evolves in an unexpected way. And guess what? It did. A.J. Brown, Calvin Johnson skills. This guy is so good. I can't wait to see him mature. That puts a wrap on my first 2020 solo mock draft that goes this in depth at least. I've touched on the topic a lot, but here you go. 2020, I'm coming for you. And I told you we'd talk a little bit about McCaffrey's dynasty value. Here we go. McCaffrey, again, 2 to 3 years is a long time. So even if you told me McCaffrey will be elite for 2 more years, but then drop off the face of the earth, I still would rank him as the 1.01 in dynasty because 2 years is a long time. People worry so much about the future. Get over, oh, I need a 23 or 24-year-old running back, or I don't need a running back at all. Todd Gurley's young. He dropped off quick. It's more about how many years you've done it, how many years you've grinded it out, how long your knees are going to last. And some running backs like Larry Johnson gave you 2 years. Priest Holmes only 5. Sean Alexander 5. Stop thinking that if you have a 22-year-old running back, you have some huge advantage over a running back that's just getting going at 26. Let it go. But they are overworking McCaffrey, so if you think you're going to get 5 or 6 elite years from here on out, you're crazy unless they dial back his usage. He will break down. That doesn't mean he's not the 1.01 in both redraft and dynasty. I'm merely preparing you for a shorter career than you would hope for if they don't dial it back. And I don't think they're going to. Get ready. 2020. Subscribe if you haven't. Tell your friends. If you don't want to tell your friends about the show because you're a selfish son of a... then walk into a sports bar for me at least one time this offseason and go, the Fantasy Football Show sandwich. I want it and I want it now. Do something to promote the show. Let's get this thing going. Let's get it growing. We're going to be the biggest show come August. You watch. And it's all because of you guys. You guys make this show happen. Subscribe. Follow. Let's go. Computer, who is Smitty from the Fantasy Football Show?
Here's something I found on the web. According to episodecalendar.com, Adam Sandler as Smitty.
What the? Computer, who is Smitty Fantasy Football?
Here's something I found on the web. According to patreon.com, The Fantasy Football Show is hosted by Smitty.
She knows me. Computer, studio off! Top 5 running back. You're watching The Fantasy Football Show.